Hello everybody. Today is Tuesday the 5th and this is another daily match. Today we have another game from the Vex tournament. I think this might be the last game I cast from there, I'm not sure yet. Because a lot of these games weren't really that close, which is kind of to be expected, but not a lot of Firefall games are close. And there's really not that many alternatives, so I'm probably going to end up looking for something else, discovering that there is nothing else, and then going back to casting games from the Legends tournament the second time. But this is a game between BRZ versus TheHerd, two literally community tier teams, in the sense that they both come from separate Firefall communities. And this was during the prelims, this was during the qualification round, so this is the best of one, this is round robin. And I don't remember how this game ended, so this is a recast, but not really a recast in the sense that I don't know what's going to happen. So on TheHerd, we have Applebrain, Brussels, Rarity, Terracon for the D. On BRZ, we have Perjazong, Pyra, Redzik, Shogun, and Super Misk. And there's immediately going to fight start here. Perry is going to get picked off. Terracon is in the middle of the enemy team, trying to deal some damage. They're going to have to focus him down here fast because he's going straight for the recons, and he is extremely low on health now, but he is going to try to run away. It does look like he's going to make it. And he's going to immediately get replaced by Brussels and by the rest of TheHerd. So TheHerd immediately going to roll over BRZ in this first fight in the corner. BRZ getting caught in a not so nice positioning and sort of getting outshot and outplayed by TheHerd in this first fight. Since we have a bit of downtime here for a moment, Terracon is going in, but it's going to run out of the way immediately. Let's talk about team comps for a moment. We're seeing 2 assaults, 2 biotechs, and a recon from TheHerd. A really nice balanced composition for Shantytown. You can't expect people to run with less than 2 bios or less than 2 assaults. It's just not something you do nowadays. But they are starting to fight again, so I'm going to actually move this camera where we can see things. BRZ sort of getting spawn camped a little bit here. I don't like this positioning from TheHerd because it's really easy for them to get picked off here, but it does seem to be working. Applebrain extremely far forward. Really should die here. It does look like he will. Applebrain goes down, and BRZ is going to push out of their spawn position now. Execute shot going on Applebrain, preventing that revive. Shogun immediately pulling back after that very smart choice. He cannot 1v1 versus an assault. But Terracon in the process chasing Shogun overextends, and BRZ is starting to pull back a little bit here. TheHerd playing extremely aggressively, and that worked for them in the first fight. But now that we're sort of in a position where BRZ has sort of gotten their bearings, it's a lot harder for them to pull off these super aggressive plays if they're going in 1-by-1. Brussels here going to get picked off, or not really picked off, but focused fire by the entire enemy team after he goes for a dive. Redzik goes down, but it takes 2 members of TheHerd to do it, and they both go down as well. And BRZ is back in this game. Talking about BRZ's team composition a little bit, they're actually doing something very similar, but they only have 1 biotech. That might just be because of the different frames played by the members of their team. But 1 biotech is extremely difficult to run because you don't have a lot of healing. But they do have 3 assaults, so they're going to have to try to abuse their upfront firepower and just focus fire as much as they can. Terracon and Redzik both going down immediately. Pyra pushing forward. Thinking about going for the revive, decides not to. Instead, actually goes for Applebrain and gets shot down by Rarity and Applebrain together. Applebrain popping some poison on Pyra, so Pyra can't be revived. A really nice touch, but it's still extended extremely far forward and needs either healing to back off and gets neither of those and goes down. Rarity is now extremely far forward, probably going to die here as well. Terracon now being focus fired. There's a recon in this long alleyway for BRZ, and I feel like that made a huge difference in this fight. You could just see TheHerd taking huge amounts of damage. The D, by comparison, is not really out of position, but in a different position. Brussels now getting shot by Shogun, goes down to a nice headshot. So yeah, the recon making a huge difference in that fight for BRZ. The double damage is going to go to an assault now. Let's follow that assault. Might see some plays out of BRZ now because they do have that double damage, but they are content to just sit back here a little bit and wait for TheHerd. The D now has a nice sniper position, but it's going to get chased away by some focus fire and some spam from BRZ. Perry now going after Applebrain. Backs out a little bit. You don't want to be taking too much damage when you have the double damage, because the double damage does make you take 1.5 times damage as well. Brazil's probably going to go down here, being chased down right now by Perry. It's going to take just one more hit to do this, and he is going to go for the assault rifle and just finish him off. Meanwhile, this pulls Perry out of the fight for a bit, and he's not really going to be useful here because he is low health. Supernova and Terracon meanwhile are in a duel, and Supernova kills Terracon, but Apple Brain gets Supernova. Apple Brain meanwhile being sniped by Shogun. Shogun, like before, spot on positioning, this time at the top of the tower here, getting these execute shots off. And it doesn't look like the Herd is really aware of this positioning. They are going to take huge amounts of damage here. Now they're starting to throw some harass up, and that is going to force them to be a bit more cautious and a bit more defensive. And they finally have an afterburner up here. But the question is it too late? They do get Shogun down with some nice air shots, but now BRZ is going to jump in on this. And because only one of them afterburned up, that person is extremely out of position. Terracon is already low. Apple Brain is all alone, getting focus fire down. Rarity actually is here now too. But Apple Brain is going to be focus fired immediately. Rarity gets shot by Shogun, who's either been revived or respawned. And now the rest of the Herd is going to come in here, but they've already lost this fight. Right now they're just overstaying their welcome. Red goes down to some nice super focus fire. Super is low, but he's going to get the health pack. And BRZ is actually going to fall back a little bit here, and that's, I think, is going to cost them. They did lose Super because Super was the one who didn't fall back. I think this was one of those instances where going for the revive was bad because it put them down to 3 players for a while, and they needed that 4th player to actually fully finish that fight with the Herd. But now BRZ is stuck in this awkward position in front of their spawn again, and the Herd is pushing in here as a group. Terracon getting some nice shots up. It's going to fall back a little bit because he's low on health. Gets caught by Perry. BRZ sort of hanging around their spawn, floating around, but in this awkward position. For example, Red here gets extremely low, nearly dies. Even though his team is all around him, having only one biotech is making this extremely difficult for BRZ. Rarity now running away, going for the revive. I do not agree with that decision. That's going to cost Rarity his life, and Apple Brain should get focus fired any time now. Actually not going to get focused. I'm going to get the revive off on Rarity once again. A little bit of a blunder by BRZ there. That was an easy kill. Apple Brain was low. Rarity was gone. There were no heals coming out there. But it looks like they got distracted by some other members of the Herd over here. So the Herd now hanging out on this high ground position. BRZ is on the low ground. There's poison all over the place. This is not a position you want to be in. Super is afterburnering out, but that might not be enough. Terracon is going after him. Oh, a beautiful crater going down on Rarity. That crater might have been game-changing almost, or fight-changing, since this isn't going to change the end result a lot. But getting out a full health biotech, full execute is extremely important for these fights. Shogun now in a nice sniper position one more time, gets Apple Brain. And it looks like, with the score of 23-15 and an execute shot coming out, that this game is going to go to BRZ any moment now. The D getting shot at, but actually gets Shogun, getting a little bit of an edge due to the element of surprise. But at the end of the day, Brezzles gets executed, and that is going to be GG. BRZ beats the Herd 25-15. So a very nice match here. BRZ sort of making up for their loss of the second biotech through some very nice assault play, does extremely nice focus fire. A few blunders on both sides, but that's normal. You can't expect people to be hubris all the time. You can't even expect hubris to be hubris all the time. They can make mistakes too. So overall, a very nice match. Fairly close by Firefall standards, since most Firefall matches end up being a stomp. But yeah, Shogun really turning the game, having some spot-on positioning during some of those key fights, and just dishing out massive amounts of damage. The new recon with the changed sniper rifle doesn't deal that much burst. I mean, can't insta-headshot kill fragile classes anymore, or can't always do it. I know in some instances they can with abilities and stuff. But with the new recon, just allows the recon to deal consistent damage, and that flies under the radar sometimes. You're just constantly taking recon shots, or your team is constantly taking recon shots, and that just adds a massive amount of DPS. And especially during those fights down here in this area near the double damage, that was truly important. So anyway, great game. Unfortunately, only a best of one, so there isn't a second or third game I can cast to this. So we will see what I cast tomorrow, but I will see you guys then.